Have you ever wondered why certain emotions keep holding you back no matter what you try? Are you ready to discover a powerful method to release them for good? Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to the Growth Galore channel, where we dive into book summaries. In this video, we'll be discussing Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David Hawkins. I hope you enjoy this episode. Today, we'll be talking about emotions from a perspective we've never seen before. We'll be exploring emotions in depth, and we'll learn a mechanism that helps us understand how to manage our emotions and permanently rid ourselves of negative ones. This book is fascinating, powerful, and could be a turning point in your life. Here is the best summary of Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. As always, grab your coffee or favorite drink and let's dive in. Let's get into the details. Hawkins begins by focusing on something natural and inherent in every human being. Everyone on this planet is in search of happiness, inner peace, comfort, love, and so on. We can all agree on that. He mentions how people try to attain these feelings in various ways. Some pursue hobbies like painting, singing, playing soccer, or going to the gym. Others get married, start families, and have children to feel happy. Some travel, others devote themselves to humanitarian work, and some strive to achieve accomplishments and inventions. Yet, according to David Hawkins, despite all these efforts, many people still experience sadness, fear, anxiety, and tension, and some even reach severe stages of depression. Despite all the entertainment options available today, there remains a deep question. Why? Hawkins explains that the reason is that we don't truly let go of our negative emotions, no matter how many external distractions we have. If we don't release the negative emotions within us, we will continue to feel sadness in one form or another. Negative emotions often arise from their connection to negative experiences, losing a loved one, betrayal by friends, or difficult situations that cause fear and anxiety. Hawkins reveals that everyone in the world deals with negative emotions in three ways. The first way is suppression or repression. This means that if you feel sadness, anger, or fear, you try to bury these emotions or suppress them and go on with your life as if nothing happened. But most people suppress their emotions unconsciously, and that's the difference between suppression and repression. The second way is expressing or talking about emotions. Some of us believe that talking about our emotions is a way to release them, but this isn't true. Talking about emotions might actually feed them and make them grow, or it can transfer those emotions to the person you're speaking to. The third way of dealing with negative emotions is avoidance, whether through watching movies or anime, hanging out with friends, or traveling. These distractions make the person feel as if they've escaped their emotions, but in reality, those emotions remain stored in their subconscious mind and begin to accumulate over time. Hawkins says that these three methods, suppression, expression, and avoidance, ultimately lead to the storing of negative emotions in our subconscious. Over time, these emotions build up and begin to affect us both mentally and physically. Now, let's adjust the text while keeping your tone and explanation intact. Sometimes the situation may not even be that significant. It could be a minor event that makes you sad, but you find that the sadness you feel is much greater than the event itself warrants. That's because the sadness already existed within you, and the event was merely a trigger that brought out the buried emotion. This is one of the signs of suppression. The emotions were already present inside you, even people who suffer from phobias. If you think about it a little, you'll see that their fear is far greater than the situation requires. This indicates that what they fear is merely a tool to reveal the accumulated fear inside them. For example, have you ever listened to a calm piece of music, like a piano or flute, and suddenly found yourself feeling sad? Sometimes, You might even find yourself crying for no apparent reason, even though the music had no lyrics or dialogue. Yet, it made you feel sadness. This is a clear sign that the music triggered emotions that were already buried within you. Sometimes, you watch a scene in a movie that makes you extremely angry, as if the situation you're watching is real and not just acting. The intriguing part is that the scene may have nothing to do with you personally, yet you feel anger. Why? Because there are buried feelings of anger inside you, and the scene triggered those emotions and brought them to the surface. David Hawkins says here that we need to allow these suppressed emotions to be released. Dear viewer, if you can recognize the problem, you're already halfway to the solution. Our suppressed emotions build up over time, and sometimes an event allows some of these emotions to be released without our awareness. David Hawkins explains that sometimes we let go of certain emotions unconsciously, but today I will give you a conscious method to help you deal with your emotions in an aware and deliberate way, allowing them to be released peacefully. Here's a beautiful quote where he says, "We fear our emotions. We fear facing them because we lack a conscious mechanism to handle them, and they build up until we reach a point where we wish for death to end the pain." Some of us fear confronting our emotions, even fear thinking about certain topics because they are tied to feelings of anxiety, fear, or sadness. The reason we fear facing these emotions is that we don't know how to handle them. Over time, they accumulate, leading to depression or difficult stages where we want to rid ourselves of the pain by any means, even if that means death. Remember, it's not the events themselves that hurt us, but the emotions tied to those events. Sometimes, even after 10 years have passed since a certain event, we still feel the pain because we haven't released the emotions connected to it. Now, we reach an important point: how to apply the method of letting go of emotions. The author introduces a scale known as the Hawkins scale of consciousness, or the emotional scale, which ranks emotions from the lowest to the highest. It starts with shame, then guilt, followed by apathy. Next come grief and fear. These emotions fall into what's called the zone of negative emotions. After that, we move into the transitional zone where emotions are neither negative nor positive. It starts with desire, then anger, followed by pride. After pride comes courage and then neutrality, marking the end of the transitional emotions. From there, we enter the zone of positive emotions, beginning with willingness, followed by acceptance, and then surrender. After surrender comes reason or wisdom, followed by love, then joy, culminating in peace. The final stage is enlightenment. David Hawkins explains that this scale represents the natural progression of emotions. For example, if you fear losing someone you love, fear is not the only emotion within you. There may be other emotions buried beneath that fear. When you face your emotions and allow them to be released, you might think you've already lost that person and start to feel grief. This grief is the emotion buried beneath the fear. Understand that when you begin to release these emotions, allowing them to let go doesn't mean they vanish instantly. You are undergoing a gradual process of emotional release. After facing and releasing fear, you might find yourself entering a new phase, dealing with grief. You feel sadness over losing the person you were attached to, and this grief doesn't disappear overnight. It might take some time. After you've experienced this grief for a while, you move into a new emotional phase. You might find that after grief, you confront feelings of anger. You're angry at the reasons that caused your attachment to this person, or at the circumstances that led to the loss. But it's not necessarily required that you experience anger. You might jump straight to courage. You find within yourself the courage to say, "I don't need this person and I am capable of moving on with my life without them." After courage, you might shift into neutrality or willingness. It's important to note that you don't have to go through these emotions in a strict sequence or order. As you peel away each layer of emotions, you find yourself rising to a higher, more refined level. For instance, after courage, you might feel ready to let go of that person entirely, or at least ready to accept the possibility of losing them if it happens. After reaching this level of willingness, the next stage is surrender and acceptance. You accept the reality of the situation and are ready to move forward. From there, you may reach more positive emotions like wisdom or reason or even joy and love, ultimately leading to a state of inner peace. This process is like peeling away layers of accumulated emotions, and with each layer you shed, you delve deeper into your emotional core. But remember, this process takes time. No one gets rid of their negative emotions or any emotions overnight. Now let me tell you about the simple method David Hawkins described for letting go of these emotions. He was the first to say that the method is very simple but not easy. Everyone who has read the book agrees on this. It's simple in concept, but the execution can be challenging, and the difficulty depends on the intensity and type of emotions you're dealing with. Essentially, there are many ways to release negative emotions, but the approach Hawkins focused on involves a specific mechanism for allowing emotions to be released. The book begins by explaining a simple yet profound concept about letting go of emotions. In the first chapter, David Hawkins clearly states that the key idea is not to resist or try to analyze the emotions, but to live with them as they are. In other words, when you feel sadness or fear, don't try to escape or suppress those emotions. Don't resist them or look for logic behind them. Simply experience the emotions as they are, fully and openly. For example, if you've lost someone dear to you and feel sadness, live through that sadness completely. Don't associate it with the loss of that person or try to explain why you're feeling sad. Live the sadness as it is, with clarity and without resistance. It may take some time, weeks or even months, before these emotions start to fade away gradually. When you think about the person you lost later, you'll notice that the sadness has become lighter and less impactful. The method for letting go involves setting aside a specific time during the day or week to sit quietly with yourself and dive into your emotions. Find a peaceful place, free from distractions like your phone or noise. During this time, focus on the emotions you've been suppressing, like fear or sadness. Acknowledge these emotions and give them the space to exist. For example, if you feel fear of losing someone close to you, acknowledge that fear and allow it to surface. You might notice physical reactions like a racing heart, sweating, or trembling. This is a sign that you're truly experiencing the emotions. Stay with those feelings until they begin to fade gradually. Over time, you'll reach a point where those feelings of fear or sadness no longer dominate you. This practice will help you confront future situations without accumulating new negative emotions. Through this daily or semi-daily practice, you'll be able to release the accumulated emotions, becoming more free from their influence on your life. Many people who have tried this method have confirmed its effectiveness in releasing negative emotions, and there are even training courses based on this book to apply these ideas. The core idea is to fully experience your emotions at a time you choose, instead of waiting for new life events to pile more emotions on top of what's already there. In the end, that's the main message of the book. If you found this explanation helpful, share your experience in the comments and let others benefit as well. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your valuable time. It's truly priceless.